welcome back to my channel. My name is Ayo. If you're new here, welcome. And if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for returning to my channel. I'm so glad you're here. I talk about books, K-dramas, and everything in between. So if you enjoy that, please stay a while, subscribe, like, share, all of those things. Okay, so today we are doing a reading vlog. Yeah. And if you just watched my last video and you saw me in this hoodie, you didn't. Okay, you didn't. You didn't. All right. Okay, so what are we gonna be reading this week? I will be reading this Assembly in Eilish, Sharon Gard. I've been trying to read this for over a month, and girl, please get to it. And I'll also be reading Chimamanda's book, Dream Count. So these two, yes, yes. Okay, so we'll be trying to attempting to read this two. Actually, this blog is a Dream Count blog. Okay, so I will be reading this, but I also hope to read this, and it might. Anyway, welcome. See you in the next clip. I have to go out now. I need to get some groceries so I can eat, and then I'll come back and we'll start dream count. Dream count or something Irish. Dream count. We'll start dream count. So I'll see you soon. Okay, guys, if you're wondering, oh, she's here to give us the 50% into dream count, whatever. No, I'm not. I'm not here for that. Actually, it's been a couple of days. I dropped my camera. I felt very sick, and I haven't actually started dream count or assembling Eilish or any other thing. Yeah, it's been bad. Okay, I got a very bad migraine, and yeah, it's just been a horrible experience. And I'm going to try to start dream count today, but I make no promises. At this point, I'm not even sure when this vlog will go up, because yeah, it's just been one thing after another. It's really tough, but yeah, I just wanted to let you guys know that I am sorry. But yeah, hopefully I will finish this vlog by the end of today. Oh, sorry, by the end of the week. I hope so. I hope so. Fingers crossed. Yeah, I have to do dream count and I have to start dream count. Okay, I just need to start. Yeah. Okay, that's me. I will see you in the next clip. Uh-uh. I just got a mic. Hi. Actually, let me tell you the reference for this. I was on TikTok and I saw Victoria Aviad, an author. She started a video with, "Oh, Victoria's got a mic." Uh-oh. So that's me now. I just got a mic. So I hope this is better sound quality. Who is she? We haven't seen me in ages. And the person who started this vlog is not the same person that is in front of you now. So, but what can we do? I hope this is better sound quality. If it's not, I don't know what to do. Okay, we're gonna have to start from scratch. But this is the Dream Counts reading vlog, and I've read about 80 pages and I've got thoughts. So today, I know this is supposed to be a reading vlog over a couple of days, but you know what? That's not what this is. Okay, this is reality. I'm going to this vlog has to go up tomorrow, so basically this will be spend the day with me while I finish dream count. Now I'm 80 pages in, and if you can see, yeah, that's a bit of a dent. So what have we learned? This is about four women told through it's a story of life told through the eyes of four women. So it's Chiamaka, Omelugo, Zikora, and Kadiatu. We are in Chiamaka's viewpoint right now. She lives in America. Zikora also lives in America. I think Omelugo used to live in Nigeria, but where I am now, she just moved to the US. So that's what this is. But more than that, I've got thoughts. I've got thoughts. So many things have happened. I feel like now we sort of know the lay of the land. So I feel like nails and air, but let's not talk about it right now. Let's talk about dream cows. So okay, what was I saying? I feel like Chimamanda is returning to themes that she is familiar with. So we are talking about racism, American politics, academia, and how they look down on and America and how it views Africa, especially us Nigerians, because that's what we know. Okay, like I haven't lived anywhere else in Africa, but yeah, I know a bit. I'm from Nigeria, so I feel like that's what she's revisiting in this book, which are themes that she often goes back to in her books. If you have read, I had some instances where I thought of uh Odenigbo in Apopielo Son. Apopielo Son is one of my favorite Chimamanda books. Not my favorite, but one of my favorites. I think it's so good. And so she talks about how academics look down on the ordinary person. And in this story, we have Chiamaka dating a man. Is this a spoiler? This is a spoiler blog. I'm sorry. So dating Danielle, and oh my goodness, if I could throttle someone, yeah, I will. I can stand that man. Okay. Yeah, we deserve better as women, I think. So that's also that. That's also that. So another thing is the themes are racism, but also family and what it means to be a woman and what it means to be loved. The very first sentence is, I have always longed to be known, truly known by another human being. Sometimes we live for years with yearnings that we cannot name. So basically, Chiamaka is someone that wants to be known and loved. I remember what I was telling you in the Six of Crows reading blog. To be known is to be loved. And yeah, I get it. But in some cases I'm also frustrated with Chiamaka. So I have some um annotations, and I'm going to read some cases where I felt like, oh no, what's going on? You know, there is, okay, so there's a part where it talks about depression. I ignored even Omilugo's call. Nobody was closer to me than Omilugo. But talking to her became an effort because talking at all was an effort. I lay in bed and did nothing and felt bad for doing nothing, but still I did nothing. Tell me you are depressed without telling me you're depressed. Okay, that is me. And at some point last year, I got to that space where talking to people felt like just way too much effort, and I just stopped talking to people. My dad, my mom. I just found everything so difficult. Every morning, I was hesitant to rise because to get out of bed was to approach again the possibility of sorrow. Oh, oh, Chimamanda. Chimamanda. Oh, okay. That puts into words how I feel. Okay, another one is, so this is about our first crush or something. And she said, this is very good writing. I willed his attention but did nothing to attract it. Okay, okay. And I feel like like I said, I'm just gonna be telling you different things. This, I think, it's very simple, but it paints a picture, and that is very good writing. Of course, Chimanda, the best. So what else I was going to talk about? um Okay, this one is about this. I feel the frustration of loving a man that's just not right for you. And as a friend looking in, I have had instances of this, and I'm sure my friends have felt like this about some people I've been with, and they're like, "Girl." So it says, "My love for him was a thin bled dry of reason. Ooh, bleeding and associating it with love. Okay, okay, okay. Come true, Chimamanda. But anyway, I love that metaphor. But it's so true. Bled dry of reason. The gradual bleeding that you have to do to to bleed something out. But think of it when it comes to loving someone that's just not right for you. It's almost like, you lose yourself, you lose your self esteem, you lose who you are, everything. Well, I think that completely encapsulates what it is to love a man that is not good enough for you. Okay, this one is something that I just have to talk to you about. In the jungle of the internet, there still existed the kindness of strangers, and uh, my annotation in this place was simple and profound. I think of the kindness of strangers I've only spoken to online. Ugh. This is a shout out to Summer. She is someone I found online. When I was trying to look up my e-reader, I stumbled on her page and I've been there all this while. And she's been so kind to me. And she recently watched my videos, and I was like, "That is so kind and so sweet," because the only people who watch my videos are my parents and my cousins and my younger brother. So this very nice. Well, they're not the only people. I think there are people here that I don't know, but most people I know them or they know my family. That's why they watch it. So yeah, that is, and not just that. I think there's Seun. Shout out to her. But so many few times I have found so much comfort from strangers that I don't know who've just been so kind to me. Okay. Another one is this thing about being different abroad. So she lives in America, and her mother always wanted her to come back to Nigeria. To come back, she was always asking her, and she never did. And she said, "I wanted to stay because I could never be too strange here." Oh, and that eats me because I also feel the same way. I am Nigerian, but I'm not very Nigerian. I don't like, I'm a very strange person. I'm weird. I don't like the things that we like. I'm not trying to be a doctor, a lawyer, a an engineer. I'm not trying to be any of that. I'm just trying to write. I'm just trying to live a quiet life. And it's like you have no ambition. You have nothing. Like that's so not Nigerian. Nigerians, they're forthright, they go after everything they want. And I'm just a quiet person who just wants to be behind. Like I don't, even with my writing, I'm not sharing it. I'm just like, okay, I write sometimes. It's not wrong with that. And yeah, I could never be too strange. Okay, there's always somebody that's like, that's good, that's fine. Okay, that's fine. If I don't do makeup, if I don't do anything, there's someone that's gonna be like, that's okay. You're not too strange for that. Um, Danielle is one of those idiots that think that they're because he's black American, and there's also the black American and the African dichotomy that she addresses in this book. And Daniel is one of those black Americans that are just, very radical, and they just think this. But she was saying that it's almost like they felt like there's a certain way to be African, and you can't be African if they don't have something to pity about you, you know. And I thought that it's so sad, and it's so true, because she comes from a very rich family. Mm. And so for her, being abroad is just, she can afford it. Okay. So she's a travel writer and she does not really do much. When I mean much, she doesn't make so much money, but she's fulfilled, you know? And that's not very Nigerian. I mean, but she can afford it because her dad is rich and she can do whatever she wants. But anyways, you get my point. Danielle doesn't see it that way and it's just so condescending. And I'm like, girl, you're funding his life. Just dump him. You're dumping. Please dump him. So, okay, that is another one. I'm going to look for another. Okay, this is addressing that theme of being known. More than marriage, I was looking for what I did not know. I then did not know as the resplendence of being truly known. So she met this guy. After she broke up with Daniel, met this guy who seemed so perfect on paper, but who she just could not gel with. Ooh, ooh. I've not been in that position, but yeah, I know a lot of women have been in that position, and for her, she chose to walk away. And in some parts, I was frustrated with her, and I thought, "Ugh, girl, she don't want to get married, but she's not me, okay? And we are different." And in this place where she says, "Oh, okay," before that, I want to talk about where she says, "This is very good writing. The clarity of insight is bewildering. If only we could see our feelings while we are still failing." What? Okay, what? Because tell me why. When you look behind, you're like, what was I thinking? What was I thinking? Okay, she talks about Daniel. For him, a thing had value simply by being obscure. A man of the people who hated what the people liked. Pretentious guy. That's who he is. Pretentious. That's who he is. Okay. She talks about being. I didn't want to be single, but being single was not intolerable. Yes, I don't want to be single. It's a bit intolerable for me, but I get what she means. Like, I get that sentiment. Like, I'm not gonna settle just because I don't want to be single. I think my parents raised me better than that. And sometimes, oh yeah, this actually reminds me of when life gives you tangerines. There's a thing in that story about self-respect, and even though you're poor, you are the apple of your parents' eye. And if you just remember that, you wouldn't settle for less because your parents are giving everything they have for you, and you shouldn't let somebody else treat you so poorly. And I think of that when I think of this, because being single was not intolerable in the sense that I wouldn't accept I wouldn't accept trash just because I didn't want to be single. I should have more self respect than that. And okay, this one is okay. This is the theme of racism that I was going to also address. She says that the problem is that many of these white people don't think we also dream. So this happened when she wanted to. The context is that she was going to get published, so she keeps writing, but she hasn't gotten published. Like, she's trying to publish a book, but she writes articles, and she's one of the an editor called her and they were like, "We would like to pick up your books, but what if you go to Somalia or you go to Congo and you write about the suffering over there?" She was like, "What?" My travel writing is about me going around and just having fun and showing you the world through the eyes of a black Nigerian American woman. What do you mean? What do you mean? And so she's crying about it after she told the person no. And uh our current boyfriend was like, "The problem is that many of these white people don't think we also dream." And I thought, profound, profound, because yes, yes, sometimes there's this idea of us in they don't even mean to, and it's like we are more than a struggle. How do we dream? How do we think? Reminds me of our essay about the danger of a single story, because nobody is one thing, we are complex. Africans, yes, there's poverty, there's a lot of pain, there's a lot of war, but there's a lot of wealth. There are Africans who never, ever, ever suffered in their life. Okay, they have so much money, they're driving so many big cars, they've gone to school, they highly educated, highly accomplished Africans. And we are Africans too. And we're allowed to dream. We're allowed to be more than what you see us as. And I think that is so beautiful because, yeah, for instance, when I write my stories, I don't really write about struggles. I write about mental health, I write about family, but I don't spend my time talking about colonialism or look, I'm okay with people who do that. That's not what my story is. That's not what I want to focus on. And I'm allowed to dream, am I not? Um, this I thought it was so beautiful. There's no elixir more potent than the genuine encouragement of a lovely person. Sums it up perfectly. There's just that thing when you're so down and someone someone encourages you, it gives you just that little push to go on. Another one is I was talking about a relationship with this new boyfriend and okay, we spoke Igbo in public and made fun of Americans in restaurants, and it was like crawling together into a delightful secret tent. Oh, that's so beautiful. I'm still in that. Yeah, that's why I want with man. My man wear. Okay, so this is something that she okay. So when she finally breaks up with this guy, she says, and everybody started calling her, and she said, I woke with lucid visions of our passion, his urgency, my clothing drawn and pulled aside. What had I done? I asked myself, this wanton waste, this loss I had created for myself. But something was missing. It was there in the echo after sex, the silence we slipped into, which was not uncomfortable but empty. The dream served a purpose, and was it real to imagine what I wanted? And did it even exist? So she felt bad about giving it up. She felt bad that she wanted more. And sometimes, and another thing, she says, the root of his loving was duty. He loved as an act of dependable duty. And wasn't it childish of me to think this door, I'm gonna read that again. The root of his loving was duty. He loved as an act of dependable duty. And wasn't it childish of me to think this dull, to want an incandescent love, consuming, free of all honors? Interesting. I was thinking of this and I've been accused of this, of just loving as an act of dependable duty. I love people, but I'm not passionate. I am not all consuming. And I felt bad for the guy. I get where she's coming from, but I felt for him because that is me. I've been accused of not being passionate enough, of not wanting it enough. Because for me, love is a choice and it's a duty and it's showing up again and again and again and again. And I don't get all this. Oh, excuse me. I have to go back like I never left. But yeah, I was saying that love people who won't love that passionate, and then those of us who don't, who there's no one right way to love. And I feel like the movies and all of that might have convinced people there is, and I'm not wrong for not feeling that. Although they'll say you haven't felt love, and I don't know. I don't think that's true. But anyways, this so why I was frustrated with her in that sense because for me, love is a duty. It's a choice and less about all of these feelings and passions and all of that. But this is a friend getting back to her says the person who introduced them says, Chia, this man is a catch. There isn't anything better out there. Life is not a novel. And that made me so mad because tell me why would you say that to me? And I've heard that a million and one times when I say I don't want to settle. Because okay, you said this is a dichotomy of a person. I have been accused of the other side, of being not dependable, of being, of looking at love as a duty and not passionate. And I'm not saying you shouldn't be passionate. I'm just saying it shouldn't be all, like, there's no need for all of this all consuming. That's not the only way to love. For me, love is more about showing up day in, day out. It's the drudgery, the things you don't expect. That is love. Okay. Right. But when they say life is not a novel, I've had that part too. Because I'm the kind of person, I'm Nigerian, and Nigerian men are, you know, the way they are, very traditional. And I said, no, I reject that. I don't want that. I don't want that. That's not what I want. I want a man who sees me as an equal, sees me as a partner, who is willing to go this life with me as his partner. I'm not like some subservient slave to him. And I don't want to be. I want somebody who take care of me and I'll take care of him. Okay, I don't want to be doing all the work. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with women who do. I'm just saying that's not what I want. Okay, I want somebody who is genuinely my best friend, someone I can hang out with, and someone who's fine with me in the quiet, in the crazies, because I'm a bit crazy. I'm a bit ridiculous, and I want somebody who loves me through that. Okay, and is that wrong? And I've heard people say again and again and again, "Ah, your life is not novel," and I'm like, please, 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 it's not non-existent. It's real, and I will get it. Amen. Amen. So that is that's all I have for you right now, and that is just that is just what 80% in. Ooh, this is gonna be a long vlog. This is gonna be a long vlog. I hope you're able to watch it. But anyways, that is me going back in. I got a package. I will show you. I will show you. I'm so excited. So I got highlighters. Ooh, 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 ooh. This is I had very good because all the other ones I had they were bleeding through, and you know what? I told you that right now I want to be very very serious about annotating, and ooh, I heard this is Japanese, so looks so nice. Package, nice package. It's called Tombow. I will. I got it from Plant Based Bride. Yeah, and it's supposed to be a brush and a pen or something like that. But she uses it to highlight, and she says it doesn't bleed through, and it's fairly good. So we're gonna try that. And yeah, I also got this. Yeah. I hope you can hear me. I hope the mic is working because I clipped it on. And this is for you guys because it's longer and it's gonna allow me to move better. And it's 360 and it has an handheld. Yeah, it has a clamp, it has a stabilizer, yeah, and it has a remote, and it has lights. So, you know, this is what it's gonna look like. Yeah, I feel like because I don't have anybody else to film for me, I need better equipment. I have this tiny one that you're on right now, my blog camera for moving around, but I wanted something that could go up because I like those overhead shots, and I like to try some of that because I feel like it tells a good story. So yeah, expect better blogs. Expect better blogs. That is all I have because I just said I was gonna show you my package, and that is my package. And let's get back into reading. See you in a bit. Okay, so I'm about to take a food break, but I just finished the Zikora part of the story, and I've got a lot of thoughts. So let's talk about Zikora. Zikora is different from Chamaka. Chamaka is sort of concerned with being known and being loved fully, whereas Zikora is a woman who grew up in Nigeria, a little bit guarded. Father has a second wife, so she's concerned about marriage and status, not like Jamaica. Now, which is so interesting, actually, complexity of woman, of the woman, of womanhood, of being a woman, because I'm sure if you ask men, they're just like, oh, women this, women that. We are not a monolith. We are very different. And what one woman wants might not be what another woman wants. The relationship that Sikora has with the man that we see her with, if Chiamaka had that, she'd be happy. Which is interesting because Chuka, the last guy I was talking about with Chiamaka, wanted to marry her and she wouldn't marry him because it wasn't enough and she didn't want to settle. So the dichotomy of being a woman and what that means and our relationship with men, I think is something that Chimamanda is exploring in this book. But we also have some talks of motherhood. The mother-daughter relationship is very fraught. So she doesn't like her mother that much. She thinks that she's too stoic and too um, the threaten of the African mother. If you don't have an African mother, you probably don't know what I'm talking about. But yeah, so I don't think it's only African. I think I've seen some Asian mothers like that too. But anyways, African mothers are not, they don't have the time to be petting you, and that's left to your father. Okay, they're just very particular about what you should do. You hardly get compliments from them, and the truth is that we see it as um hate. You just think, why does my mother don't like me? But really, it is because of what she's seen and what life has taught her, and she just wants her daughter to have a better life. And so for them, it's always what you're not doing rather than what you're doing. But you need encouragement as a person. So we all have to learn. But anyways, um now, one of the men, this is a spoiler. The one of the men, the correct story is that she meets a man, she falls in love, and she thinks he's everything. He's a good man, good man. But then she gets pregnant and he leaves. So is he a good man? well, I don't know. Hmm. You tell me. You tell me. Okay, this is the moment where I was like, okay, I actually wrote, "Are you mad?" So this is very Nigerian. Not mad. It's like, are you insane? This man, she was dating this man, and he said he wanted to have babies, and she said, when can? He said, we can start trying. What do you think? She said, I think it's not a bad idea. He said, I don't believe in nannies. She says, what? Once it happens, you need to organize your work situation because I don't believe in nannies. Sir, excuse me. Are you insane? Okay, are you okay? Are you okay? Oh my goodness. He said, yeah, you're gonna have to leave your job. Okay, okay, okay. She said she felt herself suddenly inside a Nollywood film that relied cheaply on caprice and coincidence. Because let me tell you why this man was telling her that he wanted babies and wanted her to leave her job and all of that, and he was getting married to somebody else in Nigeria. Man, ooh, man. Okay, I'm so annoyed, but I don't want to read too much. Uh, so this man leaves her, and she just becomes very stressed. But let's talk about the mother daughter. So a mom becomes a sort of single mother, really, because the father married a second wife, And she doesn't like her mother because her mother is so stoic and she doesn't talk too much, blah blah blah. Hmm. But then she asked her mother some things, and her mother said, "I'm coming." Her mother, because she gave birth and her mother came, standing at the hospital room window. How had she never really seen her? It was her father who destroyed, and it was her mother she blamed for the ruins left behind. And I thought that was so poignant because isn't it so true? We hold our mothers responsible for all of the stress and all of the, well, let me not say we, but I think most people do that. You you kind of hold things against your mother that you don't hold against your father. I think we give men more leeway and we don't even mean to. And this is the daughter. You just, your father, oh, he can do no wrong. Your mother, oh, she did this, she did this, she did this, she did this. And you start to count all of the problems. So, okay, another thing she said, the way her mother said rigorous had irritated her. Her mother's addiction to dignity irritated her, alienated her, but she had always looked away from its cause. Her mother is stoic. She always told her, don't show weakness, don't do this, don't do that. And she was always irritated by that and she did not like it. But to be fair, there's a reason why the mother is like that. And she just wasn't paying attention. So now this broke my heart when I read it. And so, a mother was said to have miscarriages, and that's why the father remarried. Because in Africa, you need a son to inherit your properties. And the mother had her, and then had miscarriages and couldn't have another baby. And apparently, it wasn't really that she actually had miscarriages. She was lying to her husband. Apparently, she actually had an hysterectomy and lost her womb, and that's why. And she allowed her husband to marry another woman without telling him. And she said, to be a wife without womb was to be useless. I knew how much children meant to him, and I knew I had just had a girl. Heartbreaking. Heartbreaking, but so. I love the way Chimamanda brings this to life because this is a true story. These are the things our mothers did. And usually we often say we don't want to inherit the silences of our mothers because they were silent and they took a lot of things. But we also have to acknowledge the reason why they did this and the society that allowed that to happen to them. And yeah, I feel like that is what I have got to tell you for now. I have so many other thoughts. But yeah, on the racism, not really, nothing much in Zikora's story. But there's a lot of um talk about motherhood and men and what makes a good man. Because is the father a good man for living, for choosing to marry somebody else because of sons? I say so. I say yes, okay, because even if your wife had miscarriages, because that was his own reason, but actually she had an hysterectomy. But if he knew, would he have? Because miscarriages and he still had another wife. You know, like you know what I'm saying? I don't know. These men, I don't know why we excuse them and why we shield them and why everything. And it's about like why do we give men so many excuses and we don't give ourselves the same grace? You know, I think that's a very lovely depiction of it, and I am enjoying the story. So now I'm gonna go have my meal, then I'll get back into reading, and I'll see you at the next check-in. Okay, I'm back. Let's talk Kadiatu. And I just finished Kadiatu's. Well, not really. I finished Kadiatu's story, and Yeah, I'm ready to talk about it. This is actually not a lot to talk about, I think, because this video isn't very long. I don't know. Editing is gonna have a lot of work to do. But anyway, let's talk about it. Kadiato's story is a lot grittier, a lot sadder. Actually, found myself tearing up in places, and now the trigger warning. A lot of trigger warning. It's not even spoiler, but there is talk of assault and all of that. So it's grittier and there's grief. There's a lot of talk of grief. So if that triggers you, that there's a lot of that in Kadiatu's story. And Kadiatu is such a fascinating woman. So unlike the others, she's not she doesn't come from a rich home or any of that. She comes from Guinea, and she comes from a village in Guinea, and actually just somehow stumbled on getting to America because of a first love. And even the guy is not that great. Okay. But she managed to give her daughter a better life. Like I said, I wouldn't be saying a lot because this really stumped me more than the others. Okay. So in talking about grief, it says there's a quote I like. And did they not know that grief was a brief madness? Did they not know of madness that erupted from the mouths of the bereaved? I thought that was very poignant and succinct. And okay, it says from deep in her throat came a guttural keening as ancient as unformed earth. The ugliest, most spine-chilling sound Kadiatu had ever heard. It shattered the shock-strangled air. In that moment, Kadiatu understood that her sister was dead. Okay, got to the heart. Okay, that is gut-wrenching. And okay, okay. So talking about depression, but she thought it. This is she was talking about another person. She thought it an indulgent weakness, turning to alcohol in the midst of distress, and felt disappointment rather than worry. I feel like that sometimes, because why you turn to alcohol, but sometimes it's a sign of a deeper problem. And then just a few lines after, this was not mere excuse me, this was not mere self-indulgence. Omelogo was in the grip of something outside of herself. Depression, when we don't understand it, we we call it names and we ascribe things to it and we say, oh, it's this, it's that. You know, I've had people tell me, just get up, just do stuff. And it's not that easy. It's something outside of yourself. It's something you cannot control, and it's something you need help with. You need outside help with. And I hope that we as a society learn to be more compassionate and to give people as much grace as we give physical illness. We give people with mental illness that much grace too. And this made me almost tear up because it's so true about people that are living to survive. So it says, so this is Omelugo asking Kadi. Kadi. So Kadi is, I didn't even say who Kadi was. Rewind. Kadi is Jamaka's maid. So that's how she knows Jamaka. But they became very good friends. And so she knows Omelugo and Sikora too. We haven't gotten to Omelugo's story, and I find that fascinating. But anyway, so Omelugo is the one that was depressed and she was staying with Chamaka at this point. And so at one point she asked Kadi, that's Kadiatsu, and they call her Kadi for short. Kadi, what is your dream? My dream? She was not sure she understood. Yes, what do you want to do with your life if you could choose anything? Kadiatsu thought this question the kind of thing only idle people could conceive. I thought that was funny, but funny in a sad way, because she thought of dreams as something only idle people think about. And I thought it made me think of another story. I can't remember if this was Chimamanda, but I remember reading a book where I think it was Chimamanda too, but I can't remember. I think one of her short stories, and somebody's immigrant parent, because Kadiatu is an immigrant from Guinea to America, and somebody's immigrant parent was called a monkey in their place of work in America, because Chimamanda often dwells on the immigrant American immigrant experience, because she's also an American immigrant herself. So anyway, this parent said, "Okay," you know, and then she got home and was telling her child, I think her daughter, about this, and the daughter has scoffed and said that is racism, dad, blah blah blah, blah blah blah. And she was like, I don't know what all the fuss is about. I'm not a monkey. And I thought that's so delightfully African. She was like, I came all the way from Africa for a better life. Do you think I care that someone is calling me a monkey? I'm not a monkey. I know that. So I don't care. And I thought that is so African. That is so African. Africans are just so resilient and so um self-assured. Well, I'd say mostly Nigerians, because I'm a Nigerian. We're just so ourselves, so self-assured, so completely us, that we just can't be shaken by mere things that people say. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me that you think I'm a monkey. I'm not a monkey. I know I'm not a monkey. So okay. If you think so, there's something wrong with you. Anyways, and then there's the hard stuff. The day that changed our life began in an ordinary way, as most extraordinary days do. Isn't that very true? Um, I had to skip all of this. So by this point, I stopped stabbing because I was just in pain. Mm. I'm just gonna leave you with this part. Kadiatu knows it is okay. So she is telling a woman a story, a doctor, and Crystal listens, taking notes, nodding from time to time to encourage and sometimes to sympathize. She never looks shocked or surprised, and Kadiatu knows it is because she has heard this story many times in different forms from all kinds of women, but in the end, the same story. Heartbreaking, heartbreaking, but so true. So many women have these stories, and it is important that we listen, and it is important that we probe why this continues to happen and why it continues to get worse, and what are we teaching men, and why do they think that this is okay, you know and it actually reminds me of my first five star of the year. What's the name? Know My Name by Chanel Mina, the non-fictional book about assault. And yeah, so this was Abby, and now I'm about to go into a Meluka's story, who I am very fascinated by, because she's a very fascinating woman. I have seen her from everybody else's perspective and talk about her as this brash, self-confident, very Nigerian woman. And um, I'm curious to know what's in her mind. So I'll be back for that, and I think we'll have gone through all four women, but I think we're going to be ending with Jamaica, so we'll be going back to Jamaica. But anyways, I'll come back. I might not come back today. I might come back tomorrow morning. I don't know, because it's very late now. It is 10:17, but I've been reading all day. I'm still not done. This is a big book. This is a big book. Okay, I will see you in a bit. I finished doing count, and let's talk about it. So I am finally done, and look at the tabs. I don't know. Do they show up? I hope so. But yeah, So many tops. I like the sprayed edges of this book. It's so pretty. But anyways, it's what a wild ride. What a wild ride. Um okay. I was going into Omologa's story the last time I left you. Let's talk about that. Omologa's story was a bit it was about American politics. It was a little bit America, digs at America, digs at Nigeria, and corruption and the system. Basically, this is about systemic failure. Really, I think that is also something that Chimamanda explores in this story. And Omelogo is strong. She's very Nigerian, strong, self assured, a little bit bad. A little bit not there. All right. And I thought that was fascinating to look at her and what makes her tick. And unlike Chiamaka, she's Chiamaka's cousin actually. They're first cousins. She's a little bit traumatized because I think they are not as rich as Chiamaka's family. So Chiamaka's parents are very, very rich, but the Omelogo's family, they are not. Her dad is a professor, and all of that is a lecturer. My dad was a lecturer. My mom is a lecturer. So I understand a little bit about coming from academics and what they expect from you. And she is an overachiever. She just wanted to be the best at everything. And she was the best. But she also she's also very ambitious, and she just wanted to prove that they didn't need to always ask for money from her cousin's family, and so it pushed her to do a lot of things. And it was just a nice it was nice to get into her mind and her psyche. And really, I enjoyed it as an exploration of a strong woman who is not afraid because she's not married. Now that I think about it, none of these women are married. This is an exploration of women in their 40s who are not married, and what brought them there. Hmm. So Omologo, unlike the others, is not looking for love, looking for men. She's much more subdued, and she's less concerned with feelings and emotions, and more concerned with ambition and power and money. And she also writes, but she writes for social issues. So she writes for misogyny, for all of that, against misogyny. What am I saying? For against misogyny. She's trying to write against misogyny. She goes to school to do a master's in pornography because she thinks that it's a social issue and it's affecting how younger people view um you know assault. And can we say that word on YouTube? I don't think so, but anyway, you get what I mean. That and all of that, and how degrading and all of that it is, which I agree. I agree. And I think she just explores that, but she gets disillusioned when she gets to the US and nobody takes it seriously. So that's why it dissolves a little bit into American politics and perform the performative nature of society today. And she mentions that I'm not going to go into that because politics is not my thing and that's not really what I want to discuss. But it's just about systemic power. I think that is less political. That is just something we all know, that systemic power is the problem. The way we built the system and the power that goes into the haves and the have nots, and who has a right to speak and who has what they have a right to say, and all of that, and the way people view Africa, and the way we are, what we do, all of that, and how without even trying to be, you could be condescending and all of that. The West could be condescending about us, even though they contributed to our problems because colonialism. Okay, so I thought that was interesting, an interesting exploration. And but I also enjoyed how at the beginning we meet Amela got deeply unsettled because she's 43 without a child or husband. Zikora has a child. She doesn't. Chamaka, I don't even want to. I'll come back to Chamaka. But anyway, she is just she feels like she had a full life, and then an aunt tells her something that shakes her, and she starts to think, did I make the wrong choices? And I think that really is the story that that Chimamanda is telling in this book about women and the choices we make, and how even at the end, did we make the right choice? You know, we come again and again and again to that. Did we make the right choices? Are we fulfilled? Are we not? How everything we do is never enough. You know, is a marriage. Hmm, you know, the Korach chased it, but didn't get it, and it makes her a little bit bitter. Kadiatu chases it, but society takes it away from her. And is that fair? And who listens to our stories, and who gets to tell the stories of these unmarried women who we think are um, are not living the way they should, and who are we to question them and to question the choices that led them there, when so often it is society that has pushed them that way. So, you know, it's Jamaka wanting to be loved, it's Zikora wanting to be married, but still not getting it, and the string of men who they live in their wake. And yeah, so and that's why it's called Dream Count. So because Chiamaka, so we end it with Chiamaka's perspective, and we go back to Chiamaka, and I particularly loved that Chimamanda, because I think I was telling you that I found Chiamaka a little bit interesting because she's just obsessed with being known, and in Kadiatu's point of view, Kadiatu is like she's searching for something that doesn't exist, you know. Mm. And not in the sense of, and I think I was exploring how life is not a novel in my last when I was talking about Chamaka's point of view. And yes, life is not a novel, but there's a point where you have to accept reality. And I think that Chamaka just refuses to accept reality, and she's searching for something that is just not true. And so in the end, this I'm just gonna call this a spoiler blog. And in the end, she says something like she says she's having a conversation with Omelogo, and Omelogo says, you keep searching, what do you want? And she's like, I just believe that everybody in life needs to be known, to be fully known by one person. That is a life truly lived. And Omelogo says, but I know you. And she's like, yeah, but it's platonic. And what's wrong with that? What's wrong with it being platonic, Jamaka? What is wrong with that? So she really is chasing something that does not exist because she wants to be known and known and known by a heterosexual man that mm, she has rules for how you should know her. She has rules for how it should come across. And she keeps speaking these men that I'm just like, I actually have a point where I wrote in the book, Chamaka, why this man? Okay, why? Okay, I thought you were judging for being known. And she finally goes back and she regrets leaving Chuka because he actually loved her and he was fine. And I don't get why she left that guy. Because Chamaka, what do you want? What do you want? She just feels so unmoored, And I think that is something that Chimamanda is also exploring, this idea that we have. This, I mean, the younger generation, I don't know. I think our mothers were more realistic, but they let go of a lot of dreams too. And we might be going through the other extreme in looking at dreams all the time without, staying in reality. And you need a balance of the two. Okay, you cannot stay in the clouds all the time. Life is reality, and you've got to stick it out. This idea of what love is that people are searching for. As someone, I think I was saying, how somebody was telling me, you're not passionate, you're not this, you're not that. It's real. It's reality. It's in the grid. Okay, it's not the stories. It's not. Oh yeah, it's all consuming, and then it takes us, it sweeps us, and when they don't feel that, it's like no, nothing has happened yet. No, nothing needs to happen yet. Okay, love is in the quiet. It's in the quiet. So I firmly believe that love is in the quiet, and it's in the grit, and it's in the showing up day in, day out, day in, day out. And they're not perfect people. And if you don't like it, if you talk to someone and you say I don't like something you did, and they are willing to change and do better, why is that wrong? Okay, why do I need to dump that person? Okay, I yeah. So but at the end, really, this is about grief because Chimamanda lost her mom, and she recently lost her father, and she wrote a book about it called Notes on Grief, which I haven't read, which now I want to read. But the author's note, she starts by saying novels are really about what you think they're about, and this story is about four women, but really it's about the grief of losing my mother, and and that and that was a little bit for me because I'm having a bad day today. That's why I'm just showing up this way. Okay, I really, really was going to dress up and do all of that, but I'm having a bad day. But this has to go up because I am committed to this. This is my job right now, and yeah, I wanted to do that, and it is true. Grief is not. It's hard to put into words, and Meloga's point of view, she lost an uncle, and she said, "I did not cry, but then the stranger died, and I cried, and I cried and cried and cried, and wouldn't stop crying." And years later, I read an article about grief, and it said sometimes you cry for something that was ages ago, and I felt that because sometimes you don't cry, but sometimes you cry because somebody touched you, somebody held you, and you cry disproportionately. But yeah, are you crying because someone held you or because you lost someone? And that is grief. It's it's a deep, uncharted waters, and it's, keeps coming. It keeps coming. It keeps coming, and yeah, I can feel myself getting bad again. And yeah, so dream count. I feel like rating it is, how do I rate it? How do I rate it? How do I say goodbye? But it's been really good. I love that I was able to explore this and explore my emotions and being a woman, what being a woman is like, and making me think about it and reminding me too of reality and lives of women and what we go through and the things we choose and the things we don't choose and the things that are put upon us and things we allow. And sorry, I keep looking down. It's just I'm all over the place. But I just wanted to finish this, and I will say 4 stars, 4.25 maybe. Stars because yeah, I wanted a bit more, but I also get it because it's Chimamanda and she often leaves us. She leaves us at the end questions rather than answers. That's how she likes to leave her stories, and I'm more. I prefer wrapped up stories, so which just different people, different perspectives, but it's good. It's good to think, to wonder, to ponder, and that is what dream count is about. And yeah, and so oh yeah, I was going to say where the title comes from, and the title is Chamaka going back and counting her dreams, all the dreams she made, all the people and all the exes that she didn't take, all the paths she didn't take, and why. And that is why she came to the conclusion that maybe she should have gone with Chuka. And really, isn't that all of us? And I think, really, other than grief, the lesson the story is trying to tell us is live a life that you don't have to look back and regret, because regret is painful and it is easier to. Sometimes we think we're doing the right thing and we're just coasting along, but it's better to live a life where you can look back and be happy with what you chose, which will not always happen, but strive to, you know. So, are you counting your dreams? How old are you? And when you look back, how many things do you regret? I hope the regrets are not as many. I hope that we are making choices that are making us happy. And in grief, we remember that life is short and it can end. And it's not, it would, we won't always have as much time as we think we do. Chamaka thought that she had all the time in the world and she was always leaving men. And I mean, in the course of the book, she probably dated like 20. So, yeah, but she always had something wrong with all of them. And in the end, when she looked back, she wished there are so many parts she wished she had gone with. And I hope that lesson that we all take is that it's okay to explore and it's okay to take the road less traveled, but it's also okay. It's okay to be okay with it, you know, and to have less regrets and to enjoy the life that you're giving and to tell the ones you love that you love them. And I hope that you have a great love of your life, even if it's not romantic. It's okay to be platonic. The great love of Jamaka's life is Omelugo, and I hope she goes on to that. And I hope she enjoys that. And that is where I'll leave you guys today. And I will see you in my next video. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I have really, really enjoyed this vlog. That actually forced me to get out of bed. Forced me to. My room is a mess. I can't even show you. I cannot even begin to show you what my life looks like. I will be getting back into bed and crying my eyes out. But it's been good to read, to talk to you about it. I will be editing all day because I need this vlog to go up today. And yeah, thanks for hanging out with me. Thanks for always watching. Thanks for always commenting. I am so grateful. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.